All these people have been affected by racial discrimination by the RCMP. As you can see, they aren't even safe from themselves.
Marge Hudson spent the last 3 decades in the RCMP, and nearly everything she has left of her life as a constable fits in one box. She burned the rest of it.
It's just things. It doesn't explain who I am today.
Because today, she says, she's a survivor who's overcome many challenges, not from the criminals she was arresting, but from fellow officers and superiors.
We were the ones out there to serve and protect, and that's what I did. But where was my protection? The RCMP eat their own.
Marge Hudson is among many officers within the RCMP who has felt discriminated against as a member by other members and superiors. She states she has many stories of others confiding in her about facing the same situation, but there's always the same problem. Many feel as that to speak out would ruin their career. One victim even told Marge she was told to keep quiet by her superior. This creates a vicious circle that results in nothing changing for the members affected.
An article related to this issue was published concerning the overwhelming presence of RCMP on First Nations reserves. A citizen of the Stoney Nadoka Reserve in Alberta, which occupies 4% of the population of the Cochrane area, claims that the RCMP are over-policing and racially profiling the reserve members. He accuses the RCMP of sitting on reserve land and running license plates on check day. If this is true, then that would constitute racial profiling as stated by professors of criminology of UFT. Another statistic published in the same article outlines a report that was done in the Kingston Police Force, although not the RCMP, stating that officers were 3.7 times more likely to pull over a black person and 1.4 times more likely to pull over an Aboriginal person than a white person, which would lead one to conclude that racial profiling does exist within the RCMP.
In 2015, in front of a group of First Nations leaders, RCMP Commissioner Bob Paulson recognized there was a problem with racist Mounties. He made it very clear he did not want racists working on his force.
I hear what you say. I understand that there are racists in my police force. I don't want them to be in my police force.
He urged the members of the First Nations leaders to contact him directly by phone if they are ever dealing with a racist Mountie in their jurisdiction. Additionally, he told these leaders about a new act that allows himself and other fellow commanding officers to be very decisive in respect to handling manners of discipline. However, asking First Nations leaders to trust the system that is in place for complaints is a tough thing to do. These systems that are in place to make sure that racist officers are held accountable are still flawed. In most cases, they still involve officers investigating other officers. How could the First Nations leaders community trust the officer doing the investigation is not racist themselves?
Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully, diligently, and impartially execute and perform the duties required of you as a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and will well and truly obey and perform all lawful orders and instructions that you receive without fear, favor, or affection of or towards any person, so help you God?